They said that will be too much.
In Chennai, we just know one dance, no, the Tapangkutu. That's the CSK dance. Okay, there was this young guy who thought he was a very good singer. And he sang tenor, he claimed. And so he was called to a country far away to sing. And he went there and the audience was cramped full. And he was so thrilled that he sang and he hit the highest notes. He murdered a few notes, but he sang. And after he finished singing, there was complete silence in the audience. And then they all erupted saying, once more, once more. He was excited. He sang it again. And again they all stood up and said, once more, once more. And the third time when he sang, again they said that. He was getting a little excited. He had visions of being a hero in that foreign land. And when an old man who was sitting in front walked up to him and said, son, don't get too excited. In our country, we ask you to sing the song again and again till you sing it correctly. So please, no asking me to repeat my performance. Okay, we live in a generation which likes all things big. Big cars, big houses, big father-in-laws. We like all things big. And there's a story about this man who had a big house, he had a big car, he had a big father-in-law, he also a big wife. And he just liked everything big. And every Saturday evening was his time to go to a pub close by. And he would go to this pub, and one Saturday he went to this pub and had a big bottle of beer and another big bottle of beer. And he got home pretty late that night. His wife was sleeping, so without disturbing her, as usual when you have a lot of beer, he ran straight to the loo and then he went to bed. But something was worrying him terribly. The next morning he woke his wife up very early and said, wife, there's something wrong with our house. Every time I opened the bathroom door, the light came on. And every time I closed it, it went off. I think it's haunted. His wife looked at him very angrily and said, stupid fellow, that is not the bathroom door, it was a fridge. We are not only obsessed with big things, I think we are a generation obsessed with social networking. Social networking is the in thing today. I believe there was this old lady who had a couple of grandchildren, and she was very poor. And as usual, if you're poor and you're old, you're kept in a small room at the corner. And the only time she saw her granddaughter was whenever she came into the room to take her grandmother's lipstick and use the mirror in the grandmother's room. So she would come, put the lipstick, and run away. And one day her grandmother was dying, and she knew that. And this girl came in, as usual, took the lipstick, put it on, and was about to leave when her grandmother called her. She said, please come here, I want to tell you something. She said, I'm going to die, but before that I want to tell you that I own a farmland, and I own some cattle, and I like to give that to you. This girl was terribly excited. She said, Grandmom, when did you buy all this? She said, don't worry, I bought all this. Then she got more curious. She said, Grandmom, please tell me, where on earth is all this? The grandmother looked at her with a wry smile and said, it's all on Facebook, dear. We are a Facebook generation, right? We've let Facebook enter our living room. Yeah, we've let, it's okay. I can still keep you in the dark and make you laugh. So yeah, where was I? Yeah. Facebook. I'm always on Facebook. So I was talking to you about Facebook entering the living room, the bedroom, and even the toilet. I must give you a real example. And this is true, I tell you that. There was a friend of mine who came down. He was out of the country for a couple of years and came down to India. And his wall had this pasted on it. Back in India, feels great to be back in Bangalore. And then after a few hours, I saw another post of his. He said, got my first stomach upset in Bangalore, running to the loo. And as usual, we found 10 likes, 20 likes, 30 likes. I was wondering, This poor guy is running to the loo, and here people are saying, we like it, we like it. So he goes, and after a few hours again, he announces his second departure to the loo. And again, the likes keep increasing. By the time he went to the loo for the third time, people started giving him advice, saying, take this tablet, take Loparet, take that. And there were so many tablets given there. And knowing this guy very well, he's someone who will take advice from everyone. I was pretty worried about him until I saw the wall post the next day. It just said this, I'm constipated. I must tell you another true incident. A wife is on Facebook with her husband, and she types this. She says, honey, when are you coming? He says, give me 5 minutes, I'll be there. The next message, I've been calling you so long. Yeah, sorry, my phone was off. I'll be there in a few minutes. The conversation sounds perfectly okay. The only thing was, she was in the bedroom and he was in the hall room. It's a true incident. It's a true incident. I later learned that they both met on Facebook, and I guess they'll be on Facebook forever. There was a beautiful saying which someone put on Facebook. They said, if you have a problem, face it. Don't Facebook it. And I think being a generation which is so much into social networking, we have so many different languages which we use. We say lol. First I was wondering what? Many of our youth guys were going lol, 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 lol. To be honest, it didn't strike me. It looked as if they were kind of barking at each other. And I tell you, I believe research shows that communication skills of youngsters have declined so badly because of social networking. There are a couple of funny letters, I believe, which people write. And one guy who wanted a holiday because his grandmother passed away wrote it this way. He said, sir, please give me a day's leave. My grandmother has passed away, and I'm the only person responsible for it. And another guy writes this. He says, I need a day's leave. I'm going to the village to sell my land along with my wife. And the third letter which I saw was hilarious. This guy wrote a big from. We in India have this thing. We write a big from. We write his address, his degrees, everything, a big to. And by the time he came to write the subject, he hardly had any space. So he just wrote the subject and had one line to write. So he said, in that one line, it read this way. He said, in respect to the above, please refer my behind. Now we'll leave Facebook aside for a minute and look at Twitter. Do you know who is the most followed person on Twitter? Any guesses? Any guesses? Please, please, any guesses? It's Lady Gaga. Yeah, I was surprised. I saw this beautiful cartoon with Jesus is talking to a young guy and he says, follow me. And he quickly turns around and says, I didn't mean on Twitter. Isn't it amazing that Lady Gaga has the most followers on Twitter? All she ever says is ga, 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 ga. And people follow her. And I'm surprised, I'm not at all surprised that they have, her name has been called Lady Gaga, because if they didn't have the word prefix lady, we would wonder whether she's a lady or a guy or what she is. But that aside, Twitter has got people in trouble. I haven't seen a single tweet from a politician or a cricketer or anyone who's got them accolades. They always got into trouble. In fact, when the Indian cricket team was in Australia, the cricket board warned them about two things. One is, mind your tweets and mind your fingers. The second one was specifically for Virat Kohli. But I was reading an interesting statistic the other day. It said this. The top 10 books sold in the world, and right up there was the Bible. 39.8 billion books have been sold. And this is only Bibles which have been sold, not distributed. And in number 2, there's a book written by a Chinese spiritual leader which has sold 8 billion. Now, don't be surprised if a book in China is sold 8 billion, because if they write it and the government says, you better buy the book, otherwise I'll kill your father, mother, brother, sister, and they buy it. So 2 million people into 4 each for the family, 8 million. That's not a surprise. But the point I'm trying to make today is Facebook and Twitter is a reality in society today. We can't escape that reality. And while we adapt to Facebook and to Twitter, as Christians, we shouldn't leave our Bible behind. I think it's time for us to go back to the Bible, because if we don't, Facebook and Twitter will not carry us when we are old. The Bible will. Thank you.